Yo, what is up folks, and welcome back to F1 2020. Today, we're going to be taking the McLaren of Lando Norris around a 100% race at Silverstone. So same as last week, we will be setting the AI to 102%, and we will be retiring from qualifying to start from the back. So this is going to be a full dry race, and we're just going to push forward as hard as we can and see where we end up. Let's get into it. Alright, so for today we are going to be using a custom setup here. As we go right through it, you guys can take a look at what it is. Now, I believe this setup is a good balance between tire wear and pace for us today, and we're going to give it a shot. So as said before, we are going to be retiring from this so that we can start from the back. Alright, now coming on to race strategy. I believe most of the AI will be going for a soft to medium strategy, but I thought, you know what, why not just give this a different try? We're going to go from the mediums to the soft. Now, I don't know if this is the best choice, but why not? Let's just give it a shot and see how it works out for us. So here we are going through the settings, as I'm seeing around where would be the best point for me to switch over to the softs. So we are in the McLaren, so we're going to be banking on the pace that the McLaren has on the mediums to help us get past the cars at the back, namely the Williams, the Alfa Romeos, and yeah, those few cars at the back. We're going to be hoping that we can just get past them on the mediums and try and work out this strategy here. Now, Silverstone is a track that requires a lot of pace, a lot of straights, so we are going to be fueling to 53 laps. Just keep a little bit extra in the tank for when, as and when we need it. Now, coming onto the race, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and we're off. Getting a relatively decent exit off the start line. Still in 20th, trailing behind Giovinazzi, as we get real close with Latifi there, and I check through the MFD to see if we get any damage, and luckily no damage. Going around the inside of Latifi, we do not make it work, and now coming onto the outside of Latifi, we try and get on the power early, but the soft tires for the Williams working much better for them than the medium tires for us right now. So we're just going to try and keep up with them and pass them as soon as we can. Trying to see if we can take any different lines here to see if we can get past them.
That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused.
As we just go past Latifi there, getting a very good exit just now. And we try and close in on Giovinazzi as Latifi tries to come back at us, but unfortunately for him, he doesn't make it stick. As we go through Maggots and Beckett's here, we get a relatively good exit, and we try and close the gap to Giovinazzi. Closing in closer and closer. Let's see, and we do not have enough space to make that move stick. So we're just going to keep on trying, keep on pushing, and see if we can, as we go down the inside of Giovinazzi, get on the sausage curb, try and keep the power down, but we do not get a very clean line, and we do not make the move. As we try and close in further and further to Giovinazzi here. Now at this point I felt like I did have superior pace despite being on the mediums, but getting past Giovinazzi was not the easiest move, as we lose the back end a little bit there, but holding it together. The gap to Giovinazzi now standing at about 5 tenths, as we see that Giovinazzi has smoke billowing out of his engine, and we get a caution for a yellow flag, and Giovinazzi does hold us up a little bit there, as I was not too sure whether that was to go to the left or to the right. I didn't know where he was going to go.
Okay, clear. Some information on Giovinazzi.
So, and that's Giovinazzi out of the session. And we do not get a safety car here, so we just get on with the race. Currently 1.7 seconds behind Russell. we're going to try and push as hard as we can to try and close in the gap, because as lap 3 starts, the stewards are going to activate DRS, and we want to be within that 1 second window to try and capitalize on the DRS. The gap now already down to about 1 second as we get a very good exit out of that corner. And right before starting lap 3, we have brought the gap down to about 6/10. So we gained about a second there on Russell.
DRS is now enabled.
So we have the pace, we just have to try and get through the field as fast as we can here. Trying to just keep it clean, not make too many mistakes, try to stay on the racing line, get the best entries and exits as we lock up a little bit there. Not ideal, but no matter for this moment, we're just going to keep on pushing as we do get DRS, so that is a very good thing for us. And we're just going to keep pushing forward. Now 3/10 behind Russell. Now this is a train, I believe, that is led by Magnussen. So it's about 5 cars here, including us. And DRS trains are not the best places to be in, because sometimes they go on for laps and laps and laps. Just because everyone has DRS and everyone's just pushing. So it is crucial that we try to get ahead as fast as we can here. Coming into Maggots and Beckett's. We will get DRS in the next straight, so we're going to see if we can make anything stick. Trying to get a very good exit there. It was okay, not too bad. DRS open. As we close in even more towards Russell, let's see if we can make anything work in this last corner. As we shoot down the inside, going alongside Russell, trying to get alongside him as much as we can, and we do not make the move stick. As I had to back out there a little bit to avoid making contact with him.
10.9 seconds.
So we're just going to keep chasing Russell down and give it our best shot the next opportunity we get. Now this corner is not a strong corner for me. I regularly just lose the back end there. Almost every race I do at Silverstone, that will happen one way or another. So definitely not a very good place for me to try and stick the AI, but we are trying our best here. Now maybe if we had started the race on softs, we would have been past maybe Raikkonen or even Grosjean by now. Because the soft tires plus the McLaren would be a lot better than these cars ahead of us. But no matter, we're gonna work with what we have here. As I put the fuel down to lean, because I do not want to get too close to Russell through Max and Beckett's. If we come onto the straight, immediately up to standard fuel mix, get our ERS and our DRS open. Try and go down the outside of the next corner, as we do get held up by Magnussen a little bit. And this is getting spicy. We shoot down the inside of Russell again, and this time going side by side with Russell, and we do make it stick this time, so good for us. Next up, we've got Magnussen, also on the medium tires. I believe he is the only runner between 11th and 20th who also started on the mediums, other than us. So we've got to get past him as soon as we can. Coming onto the next straight, we do get DRS. So this allows us to at least close in a little bit on Magnussen. So we're just going to be pushing as hard as we can as I lock up and go a little bit wide there. But we do manage to stick it on the racing line quite okay. Currently about 3/10 behind Magnussen. Just pushing and pushing as hard as we can here. As we come into Maggots and Beckett's, we put the fuel back down to lean, because we don't want to get past him here. We just want to try and close up to him as much as we can. Trying to get a good exit here. As we do get DRS again, and we're going to see if we can get a move past Magnussen. As we go around him to the right, and we are successfully past Magnussen. Now we've got Raikkonen up ahead in 15th place. And we make a move down the inside. And I back out of that at the last moment because I just think it would be a dive bomb and it probably would not be fair. So we're going to try again on Raikkonen, probably in this upcoming lap. Seeing as Raikkonen is about 2.6 seconds behind Grosjean up ahead, Raikkonen is not going to get DRS on the next straight. So we're going to try and capitalize on that and see if we can make anything stick. Now coming up to the dreaded corner for me. As you can see, the AI just pull away much better than I can in that corner. So I don't think I can actually make a move on Raikkonen here because I am just not close enough. So we're just going to stick to him and try and see if we can get him after Magnussen Beckett's. The gap now back down to about 2 to 3 tenths. I believe we've got relatively decent pace here in the race. So far going on okay. 6 laps in, we are running in 16th position. So we're going to keep pushing and seeing how far we can go. As we get onto the straight, get our DRS on, and we just cruise past Raikkonen easily. The power of DRS plus ERS. Now in the F1 2021 game, I believe you cannot change your fuel mix, so it is going to be very interesting to see how well players manage the ERS now. That is not going to be easy because sometimes you just require that ERS boost to help you get past people, so it's going to be really fun and exciting to see how it is to play F1 2021. Just a few more days now. Keep a lookout for those videos, guys. As we lock up our front right tire. Not ideal, losing a little bit of time. And we are 1.6 seconds behind Grosjean. So we are not going to get DRS in this straight. But Raikkonen behind us is, so we're going to try and push so that we don't give Raikkonen the opportunity to get past us here. Trying to close in on Grosjean as much as we can. But being 1.7 seconds behind, I don't think we are going to be able to get into the 1 second zone before the next DRS zone. And yep, it doesn't work. So from now till the next DRS zone, we're just going to try and push as hard as we can to bring down the gap. As I get a pretty good exit, I feel, out of Magnussen Beckett's. And we see the gap just closing and closing and closing. 1.4 seconds now. Trying to push and push and push. Closing in as we lock our front left, go wide into the corner and lose a little bit of time there.
Okay, we've got
Now about 1.2 seconds behind Grosjean.
have a go.
Let's see if we can close into that 1 second window before the next DRS zone, which is coming up round about here ahead of us. And I believe we just make it within the window. Let's wait to see if we do. Losing it back in there a little bit again. And yep, we do get DRS, so good for us. Now we're just going to push. Probably not get past him at this straight because we are too far behind. But we're going to try and get him after Magnussen Beckett's. Now this is a very fun track for me. I have always loved to play at Silverstone. Now, it's not my strongest track, but the more I go at it, the better I do get. So yeah, we're gonna just hope that we can eventually just up the AI and work better as we go wide there and lose a little bit of time to Grosjean, but luckily still within the 1 second window for us to get DRS. Coming onto the next straight, getting a pretty good exit, getting the DRS on with help of ERS. We're just gonna cruise and see if we can get past him. And nope, we are unfortunately not close enough to get past Grosjean. Let's see what we do here. Going down the inside, and it does not work for us. There is just not enough space for us to fit our car there. So we're gonna just trail behind Grosjean and see when the next opportunity strikes. and we're gonna
We're
pounce.
increasing our gap on the car behind by around a second a lap.
As we go past the detection point, well within 1 second. So we are gonna get DRS the next straight as I lock up my tires again there. So I believe right now we are about 6 tenths behind Grosjean, probably not close enough to make a move here. So same as before, we are just gonna try and stick behind him and wait for the next DRS zone to get past him. Now I have tried multiple setups at Silverstone. I have another setup that is catered a bit more towards those 5-lap races and time trial. Very fast, but it just kills the tires, so not really good for a 50% and above race. You don't want that. You want to be able to manage your tires very well to be able to push you. As we try and get a good exit out of here, much closer than we were before. Just with our DRS, we do not even need our ERS right now. And we get past Grosjean. Currently on lap 9, and we are running in 14th place with Gasly already 9 seconds ahead of us. So that is a lot of ground for us to make up. And Gasly is on the softs and we are on the medium, so probably not going very well. As we come across the line coming into lap 13, we can see that the gap has extended to 10.3 seconds. So Gasly having much superior pace than us on the soft tires. So right now we're just going to try and push as hard as we can and try and minimize the time loss to the guys ahead to see if the tire advantage can keep us well in game. Now coming to lap 18, the gap has extended again to 13 seconds. So really not working out well for us now, because if Gasly is 13 seconds ahead, imagine how far the leaders are. As we look towards the minimap, and you can see how far ahead Hamilton and Bottas are. I believe they're just going through magazine Beckett's right now, so they are well ahead of us. So we're just going to focus on our race and see how far we can go. Coming into lap 21, we have closed the gap down to a little under 11 seconds. So this is where I take a mental note. Maybe around lap 20 laps in is when the soft tires start to give way a little bit. So this plays into my planning as to when I want to go for a pit stop. Losing the back end there a little bit again. What's new though? Alright, coming onto the straight. Now on lap 22, the gap has extended slightly again to 11.3. So this is where I conclude that, alright, maybe around lap 22 laps, the used softs have about the same pace as the mediums, so we keep that in our minds. As Stroll and Sainz pit. And let's see where we actually come out. Yeah. We are ahead of Sainz. So not too bad. But Sainz is only 4 seconds behind us, so we're going to try and push as hard as we can, because we do not want the guys who have already pitted to get past us before we pit. That's just putting us at a very big disadvantage.
Approaching the pit window, you'll be on the softs.
Coming into lap 27 here. Currently running in 5th place with Perez 1/10 behind us, coming into my dreaded corner with Perez right beside us as I go deep into the corner, and Perez comfortably passes us. Now Perez has already pitted, so there was not much I could do at this point. He's on about 25 lap fresher tires as I lock up and go deep again, and luckily I did not let Albon by. So we're just going to push as hard as we can to try and keep the pace, because I do not want to pit yet, because from now till the end of the race we've still got about quite a number of laps left. So if I go into the softs now, it's really not going to help. Coming onto lap 30 is when we decide to pit, so that we'll have about 22 laps on the softs. As we calculated just now, we thought that the used softs on lap 22 are about the same pace as the medium tires. So this is when I decide to pit. So we're going to see where we actually come out here and see in what position we're in to see how much we'll be able to fight.
Go now.
Now Silverstone has one of the most longest pit stops. There's a total pit stop duration on the calendar. So you do lose a lot of time if you add one more pit stop, which is why I believe the AI here are also going for one-stop strategies. Now at some of the tracks, AIs sometimes go for two-stop strategies, as we saw in our Austria race, which is why it helps us a lot if you want to fight from the back, because we only need to do one stop. But in this case, I believe all the AI are also going for one-stops. So it's up to us to just push as hard as we can. As we come up in 14th place, so not the best of positions here. As we have Leclerc ahead of us, 12 seconds ahead on the medium tires. So we're going to push and see if we can actually get Leclerc coming into lap 32 here. And this is where I think to myself, alright, let's try and push a little bit and see how fast we can get this car to actually go around the track. As the gap to Leclerc now is at about 11 seconds. Under 11 seconds now. Getting a very good exit there. Being able to put down the traction with no hesitation on these fresh softs. We set a purple sector 1, which is pretty good for us. Now we can see Gasly up in 12th place running on the hards. So usually, you know, you've got the soft tires, medium tires and the hard tires, the soft being the fastest compound and the hards being the slowest compound. Sometimes you see up to 2 seconds slower laps on the hard tires. So previously we were lapping somewhat similar or comparable lap times with Gasly. So we're going to try and see if we can actually get Gasly as well. Seeing as he's on the hard tires, maybe we can work first. But our first priority right now is to get Leclerc, who is under 9 seconds away. Coming onto the last few corners of lap 32. Trying to keep it clean, trying to get a good exit here. Putting the power down, nice and easy. As we do currently set the fastest lap at a 1:29.441. Not the fastest I've done at Silverstone, but with this setup, I guess that's how much I can push the car at this point in time. Coming onto lap 36, we have pulled down the gap to Leclerc for 6 seconds, but the thing to take note here is, look at the gap to Gasly. Despite him being on the hard tires, he is still able to maintain very good pace here. The gap between Leclerc and Gasly is somewhat staying the same. So at this point I was wondering, would I actually be able to get Gasly as well? I'm not too sure. But Leclerc down to about 3 seconds ahead with about 12 laps remaining for us. So looking good for us to actually get Leclerc and get that 13th position. So we're going to push as hard as we can and try our best. Now coming onto lap 46, we've still got about 6 laps remaining right now. And we are within 1 second from Leclerc. As we see Gasly still 6 seconds ahead. So that is a lot of ground for us to catch up. And with 6 laps remaining, I do not think I can lap 1 second faster lap time. So we're just going to push and see how far we can go. Try our luck. And maybe, we'll never know. We're just going to push. But our priority now is to just get Leclerc. Trying to push within the 1 second zone, because we want to get DRS in the next straight after Magnus and Beckett's. Pushing as hard as we can, trying to get a good exit here, getting a decent one. Not the best entry, but an okay exit. Going to Magnus and Beckett's. Now it's good to keep an eye on these corners, because if you can get the line perfectly right, you can just get a very good exit out here.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
As we get an okay exit, not the best, but it was decent. Now as you can see, we have our ERS down to a very low percentage with about 5-6 laps remaining, so not ideal on the ERS component, because if we do pass Leclerc, we're going to need something to protect us against him, as we are closing up on a back marker up ahead. and I lock up my front left as I say that. Not the best, again, but nevertheless, we're going to keep pushing as we get past the TP with no issues whatsoever. Now it's nice to get past the back markers without being held up. Now we can just focus on Leclerc. The gap now down to about 0.5 seconds. Looking good for us. As we try and get a good entry and exit. Getting a decent one here. Trying to maintain the speed all the way through. Bringing the gap down to now about 0.3 of a second. Now it's crucial for us to get a good exit here, as I lose a little bit of time there. And the gap just extends to about 0.6. But crucially, Leclerc does not get DRS here, so we're gonna just push and see if we can make it, and we do not. Not enough road to make the move stick. But if you notice back there, you would have seen Leclerc's red light flashing, which means that he is on very low ERS as well. So that plays into our hands a little bit better because we know that no back markers ahead, so maybe on the next DRS zone, maybe we can get him. Currently running about 0.3 behind him, as Hamilton sets a 1:28.227, and we can see Hamilton is actually not far behind us. So being lapped by Hamilton, or being in close range of getting lapped by Hamilton, that is superior pace from the Mercedes. As we try and keep these corners clean, trying to get good entries, good exits, hitting the apex at the right point, trying to put the power down, as the gap is now about 0.4 to Leclerc. We don't get the best entries there, miss the apex, but we're holding on to Leclerc pretty well here. Now it's crucial that we get a good exit here because that is going to make or break our next move. As we get a DRS on, and I believe that we are a lot closer now. Go on the left, and we're past Leclerc. Now as you can see, we are on very low ERS here, so with about 3 laps remaining, we are going to have to defend like crazy from Leclerc, because he is probably going to get DRS on every single zone here. As we set a purple third sector, so not bad pace, but definitely not enough to hold Leclerc back. Also, when you factor in the point that we are on all softs and Leclerc is on mediums, our tyres are just going to taper down a lot faster. As you can see, the gap to Leclerc at about 0.3, and Leclerc is going to get DRS here. So not in the safest of positions, but coming on to lap 52, the final lap of the race, we have managed to keep Leclerc behind us. But not by much, as Hamilton crosses the start-finish line and wins the race. But just a few seconds after us passing the line to get under the final lap. That is blistering speed from him. Coming onto the first DRS straight. Leclerc about 0.5 behind us. I believe we are safe for now, but we're going to just keep pushing as hard as we can. It is crucial for us to keep it clean, make it stick, and not lose any time. We must not be leaving any time on the table over here because we could be losing this position. Now, in a real life scenario, 13th would not have any points realistically, but we always want to push to perform our best at every moment we can. So we're going to keep pushing, keep trying. Going through Magus and Beckett's. Now it's crucial we get a good exit here, as Leclerc is only 0.3 behind us. We pump on our ERS and try and push and push and push as Leclerc is getting closer and closer to us. Keeping the line clean, trying not to give Leclerc any opportunity to get past us. We lock our tyres, but crucially we maintain our level in the racing line, and we come across and finish the race in 13th position. So, not the best of races, to be honest. I mean, coming from 20th to 13th, I probably expected a little bit more. But seeing as everyone was on a one-stop strategy, there was really nothing much we could do, I believe. Because based on pace, we were pretty much somewhere around the AI. Maybe at times a little bit slower, but maybe not as consistent. But we tried our best. So 28th to 13th. Pretty decent, but it could have been so much better. Relatively disappointing. But yeah, nevertheless, it was a very fun race for us to actually have today against the 102% AI. Now, I've actually done this race before on 100% AI, and yeah, it was a lot easier. I can actually see quite a bit of difference between 100 and 102. Now, I know it's not the elite 110% that some people race at, but for me, I believe this is a perfect pace for me for now. But no matter what, we're going to keep moving, keep trying to improve, keep trying to up the AI and get better. Alright guys, that has been today's video at Silverstone, a 100% race with Lando Norris. Do give a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, it will really help me out. Keep a lookout for uploads, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.